Hey there guys, NexGenStriker here, and today I'm going to talk about a very controversial topic that's existed for quite a while, and quite frankly it's blown up so much that I decided to give my 2 cents on it. So as you know, or maybe you don't know, I am a really big Spider-Man fan. He's one of my favorite superheroes, definitely. He's probably my number 2, Batman being number 1, because he's Batman. But anyway, so yeah, I've grown up on Spider-Man. I've watched the 90s cartoon. I watched the cartoon before that. I don't know when it came out, maybe the 70s. I watched the movies. I've read some comics. I played the games. Yeah, I'm a pretty big Spider-Man fan. So, as you guys know, the original trilogy of Spider-Man films made or directed by Sam Raimi did pretty well in the box office, and after Spider-Man 4's cancellation, they decided to reboot the franchise. And ever since then, there have been just like 2 polarizing fan bases. There's either been the Spider-Man Trilogy fan base or the Amazing Spider-Man fan base, like the new rebooted movie that's coming out in like 2 months. There doesn't seem to be any mutual ground, really. There's only a very few people that can say, oh, well, I like the original trilogy, but I'm going to the new film with, you know, an open mind. Yeah, I don't see that, which is kind of depressing because it's Spider-Man. Why can't you like both? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going to go through the mindset of the trilogy fanboys, and then I'm going to go through the mindset of the Amazing Spider-Man fanboys, and then, you know, just kind of talk about it like that. So the original trilogy fanboys, now, you know, the movies are pretty good. I liked all 3. They had problems in between, but overall I think they were pretty good movies. Very enjoyable for both the fans of Spider-Man and just moviegoers in general. Not really so much like the more recent Marvel movies where they try to make it more realistic. This was pretty much just like a superhero movie. It went out and said, hey, I'm Spider-Man, I'm superhero. So, yeah, they were pretty good. Now, the problem with this fan base is that as soon as they heard the reboot, they just went nuts. Because they're like, oh, no Sam Raimi, no original trilogy cast, I'm out. They don't even give it a chance. Now, I'm not really sure why, because, you know, Mark Webb, he is a new director, so maybe that's why, but a lot of people seem to also not like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. Now, I had my doubts at first, because I always do when a film gets rebooted. I really usually do not like that to happen, but really looking more into it, I think Spider-Man will benefit from this, because I think they're trying to stay more true to comics this time, unlike the original trilogy, which took more liberties than these will, hopefully. I think they're rooted more in the Ultimate comic Marvel universe, which I like those Ultimate Spider-Man comics. I think they were like the best comic book series that I've ever read. Well, until later on they really screwed up. But besides from that, yeah, I think they're pretty good comics, and I think making a movie based around that universe is really good. They made a game based on it, and the story was really cool, so why not? Now people, I don't know why, they just do not want to give this guy a chance. They're saying, oh, he's a terrible actor, he's playing too nervous. Well, I mean, take into mind, guys, he is a nerd. Peter Parker's a nerd, and he is a newer actor. I think just give him a chance. You know, honestly, from the newest trailer, I think he's going to be a good Spider-Man. I mean, he cracks jokes. Finally, a Spider-Man that cracks jokes. We only had those in video games, and, you know, it's about time we finally get one of the movies. You know, not to say that Tobey Maguire was a bad Spider-Man. He just never really told jokes that much. Not that I can remember. So, yeah, guys, seriously, just give the movie a chance. And look, I know the Lizard, he's not in his clothes most of the time, but, I mean, come on, Green Goblin, he looked way different than he did in the comics, and New Goblin, I can go on. So yeah, I think that's basically the premise. No Mary Jane, or people are also complaining about that. You know, Mary Jane was not Spider-Man's first girlfriend, so, you know, Gwen Stacy was there. I think she was first, actually, unless my memory is incorrect. Mary Jane was more of a friend crush than a girlfriend at first. So now let's go into the Amazing Spider-Man fanboyism. Now, as soon as they, you know, figured out that, you know, it was more rooted in the comics, they immediately just disregarded the trilogy. Now, I can kind of see where they're coming from. You know, they're saying, you know, oh, well, it screwed up this. You know, Green Goblin looked retarded. You know, not to offend any mental people. You know, Sandman killed Ben's uncle, and that was screwed up, which I think was dumb too. Venom was just thrown in there at the last second. He wasn't done right, which I also agree with. But, you know, it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the movies. You know, I'm going to like both. I can already feel it because I'm hyped for this movie, and I like the original trilogy, even 3, for what it was. The emo dance, a lot of people seem to hate. I thought it was funny for what it was. I thought it was very out of place. I think that's why I thought it was funny, because it was just, like, so random. But, yeah, I always crack up when I see that happen. But anyway, so yeah, they seem to disregard the trilogy. But the thing is that this movie isn't even out yet. So I think that fan base needs to wait until that movie has run its trilogy course before they can really compare the two. And saying that you can't really enjoy it is like saying, I can't enjoy The Dark Knight because I like Batman Forever. I like both. And they are way different. You know, Batman Forever is a more cartoony take, while Dark Knight is more of a realistic take. It's kind of like the two Spider-Man things we've got going on right now. That's why I compare those. Because they're very different, but I enjoy both for what they are. I think that the fan bases need to just kind of understand this. You know, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put all of your faith in this old trilogy. You know, you can still like it. And don't disregard the new ones, and don't put all your faith into the new movies when they haven't come out yet. But yeah, I think that the fanboys of the new movie do have a right to be thrilled for this movie. It does look good, and it's got a pretty decent villain, I should say. You know, we never got to see Dr. Connors in the old trilogy, so now we do. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I could think of as far as the arguments that are going about. I mean, you know, there have been some screw-ups. I think there's going to be screw-ups in both movies, honestly, but, you know, you really just have to take them for what they're worth. You know, this Amazing Spider-Man is going to be more true to the comics, while the Spider-Man trilogy over here, the old one by Sam Raimi, is more liberating. You know, it's like it's more its own thing. So if you guys can just go into it with an open mind, I'm sure you will like both the old and the new, and there's no reason to trash either one, necessarily. So yeah, that's all I had to say. And just a random little thought. I'm actually really hyped for the game, The Amazing Spider-Man. Is anyone else getting it? I actually pre-ordered it on a whim. I was like, I got a lot of graduation money, I guess I'll pre-order it. And I'm praying that it's good, because I don't want to waste my money. Because usually Spider-Man games are good. So, just a random little thought there. So yeah, if you liked, give me these. If you really like me, you can sub me, that'd be awesome. And catch you guys later.